All right, little spaceship there. I guess I just imagine that could be Cosmos. Maybe I don't know, but I don't make these things. Hey, folks, welcome back to Mike Seibert Radio. I am your host, and today we are talking about the return of CybFest Northwest. CybFest Northwest 2022 is returning to the Kent Commons Community Center in Kent, Washington on July 23rd. It's the unofficial Transformers convention in the Pacific Northwest by the fans for the fans, and it will be returning as an in-person event celebrating our favorite robots in disguise. It's for Transformers young and old, new and long time. So come out and come celebrate Transformers at CybFest Northwest. I am excited to be a part of that show. I wanted to talk about it, and oh, hey, here comes a new challenger. I'm just gonna click on this real quick here. So I see Liz waving over there, and it's 7:46. So GTFO, scrub.
No.
Drag her. When I thought she was going to join us late, I was anticipating maybe a little later, but here we are. So we've got a full house. I got a screen full of friends over here. So members of the CybFest Northwest leadership team. I thought I could tell you about the convention myself, but I thought it would be funner to discuss it with friends that have been part of this incredible convention experience for a really long time. So we're just gonna go. I don't know. Count. Oh no. Counterclockwise. We'll just do some brief introductions, and then we'll talk about the show. Ben, why don't we start with you, and why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do at the CybFest?
Well, I'm Ben. I've been basically running CybFest from the beginning. It was when Greg, who ran CybCon, decided to kind of retire that show. He brought me on and said, "Why don't you start your own show?" So I brought my friend Jason in, and who's not here. He's very shy, and then we started CybFest, and yeah, we wanted to continue the community that was built through CybCon. And keep that going, because we have made so many friends through this hobby, all of us. I mean, I didn't know Jamal or Liz before I was a Transformer fan, and doing the community Transformer stuff, and it was because of CybFest that I met Liz. Jamal, I think I knew a little bit before, a few years before that, so it's just a fun time.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's this community, pretty strong collector community in the Pacific Northwest that was kind of a thing because I've been a lifelong Transformers fan, and I didn't know that there was such a large and strong community until 3-4 years ago, which I still kick myself for. It's like, there were all these great friends here the whole time that I just wasn't in the right spot to connect with them. So
it's a good explanation to why there was no toys on the shelves for many times. Like, oh, why aren't they getting new stuff? And it's like, oh, it's because there's hundreds of other people in this area that all want to buy the same stuff at the same place. Mm-hmm. So yeah,
absolutely. But yeah, I mean, it's a really cool fandom here in the Pacific Northwest, and I think that CybFest is a celebration of that. Really cool times. But more on that in a sec. I'm gonna if I start telling too many stories, we'll never get anywhere. Liz, let's chat with you. What's going on with Whirl?
Quite a few things. I've got this event coming up. You might have heard of it. It's called CybFest Northwest. But yeah, I do a whole bunch of extra stuff that is sort of like the non-collector side of the community is kind of my bag. So I do collect a little bit, but not quite as much as most of you. But my kind of side of things is talking with artists and getting more artists to come, and some of the social media stuff as well.
Nice. Shockingly brief and concise. You've learned nothing from hanging out with me and doing broadcasts.
Give it time.
Yes, it's true. And Jamal, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. My name's Jamal. I am the dealer coordinator for CybFest. I am probably the most recent addition to the staff. Prior to that, I was a longtime volunteer and an attendee, and then even before that, I was a longtime attendee with CybCon. So I've been doing the convention thing for quite a long time. It's been a lot of fun doing it. It's nice to kind of be on the other side of it and just be able to help out and be able to give a little input and be able to help Ben and Jason and Liz make this thing happen. A lot of people that have come to the event I've known for quite a while. It's interesting because I've been pretty much a lifelong Transformer fan as well, and I didn't get plugged into the community until one of the other people in the community had convinced me to actually start posting on TFW.
Okay.
And like that happened, gosh, I started posting on TFW, I think, I want to say towards the end of the Unicron trilogy.
Okay.
And started posting a lot in sightings, and that's really how I ended up meeting Ben and Randy and a lot of other people. So it's been a really cool experience, and I would say definitely tight-knit community. Gosh, we've been to each other's weddings, we've helped each other move. So it's definitely community, definitely a lot of family, if you will. So it's been a really cool experience. I'm glad to be able to be part of it.
Awesome, because I think one of the things that sets CybFest apart from some of the other Transformers fan conventions, both small and large, is that it's a family event. Like Jamal, you were talking about, it's like, all of us are family, all of us are friends, and have been there, and that was one of the things that I was really struck by the very first CybFest I attended, which I think was 2018, and I was just struck by the amount of kids that were there. I'm just like, whoa, this toy brand that's that's aimed at kids. There's actually kids here playing with the toys for the kids.
Yeah.
What a concept! It's crazy. But yeah, so that focus on family friendliness was something that I always appreciated about CybFest. But that being said, I guess let's kind of talk about where kind of somewhat the recent evolution of the show. Like, we're still in a pandemic, regardless of what folks say, and there's still precautions to be had and safety to be concerned with. But CybFest was one of the first shows that I can think of that really adapted to the changing landscape of the pandemic. Like, there was what was it? Well, I guess it would have been 2020. I almost said 2019, but yeah, I mean, so like, there was that year where CybFest went completely virtual. And then there was last year where it was, lower capacity dealer room, kind of like slowly getting back, and so this year feels kind of like the not quite the we're back, but like the closest to that, while still being safe and cautious. So what I thought we would talk about before we get into the meat and potatoes of this year's CybFest, maybe let's just kind of talk about how the team, you guys have come together and have adapted to this changing landscape over the last 2 years.
We're definitely rolling with the punches.
Yeah. I mean, everybody's had to, evolve with everything's going on. I mean, it seemed like, especially in the beginning of the pandemic, there was always something new, the new mandates, new recommendations, it just kind of consistently shifted, all the time. And so we just kind of learned to kind of follow what was going on, and then make our decisions accordingly. And I think, we just realized that, for the online thing, that was the only way we were going to be able to do it at all. And I think we found it to be a huge success. Liz, do you agree?
Oh, definitely. You know how buildings up here in the Pacific Northwest are built so that if there's an earthquake, they'll shake with the earthquake and everything will be okay? That's kind of how we're building CybFest. We're like, okay, things are definitely going to change. We don't know when they're going to change. We don't know how they're going to change. We just need to be built so that we can shift with these changes. And I think that's worked out okay for us, especially this year.
And at CybFest, we recommend getting underneath tables, for safety.
Hold the legs, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it is being held in a gym, so that does seem
Exactly.
oddly appropriate.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. One of the things that I thought was really good too was that we were really cognizant about the mandates from like the Washington State mandates or public health mandates. We were really good about being aware of that and discussing it so that we could figure out the best way to adapt CybFest to follow those mandates, but still have it be welcoming and inviting for people to come. And I think that really helped out with last year, for example. Being the dealer coordinator, I was the one that's in charge of like figuring out the layout for CybFest. And so you might recall last year I had things a little bit more spaced out to accommodate for social distancing and stuff like that. And the difference this year is that now that the mandates aren't as strict, we really tried to kind of have more booths and more tables this year. But I still made a point of making sure there was room for people to move around. And one example of it not being 100% back to how it was prior to the pandemic is that we have the space for the children's play area, but we're not putting like a whole bunch of transformers there and stuff like that because we want to leave that open space for like if kids end up buying some stuff there, they do have a space to be able to go play with their toys, and people don't have to worry about kids sharing germs or sharing toys and passing things around. Something that maybe we can get back to in later years once we figure out the end of the pandemic, if that ever happens. But for now, that's kind of something that we still held off on. So we're trying to come back in different ways, but that was kind of the big thing that I wanted to try and do this year as a dealer coordinator was just try and fill the gym a little bit more, but still give people room to walk around and mingle and stuff like that.
I gotcha. Well, and while we're here, I do want to remind folks that CybFest Northwest is July 23rd. It's at the Kent Commons Community Center here in Washington State in the lovely town of Kent. It's the unofficial Transformers convention here in the Pacific Northwest by the fans for the fans, and we're talking with some of the show organizers and the leadership team for CybFest Northwest, talking about the convention returning as an in-person event as we celebrate those robots in disguise. I do want to call attention to a couple things. One, obviously, it's July 23rd. The hours are from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. The registration deadline for attendees has been extended to July 16th, so that's part of the reason why we're getting together now and talking about it, so that with the idea that more folks have more opportunity to pre-register for the event. The advantage of pre-registering is you get early entry to the show. You get it an hour earlier at 10, as opposed to the general admission folks that will be rolling in at 11. And if you've ever been to any kind of toy show, whether it's Transformers or not, if you have the opportunity to get in early, that is an opportunity you want to take. So pre-registering is very easy. You go to CybFestNW.com and click on the pre-register window and go through the process. So registration will be open through July 16th. After that, though, you got to come in as general admission. And I do want to remind you also that dealer tables are already sold out. So like we're already talking about, it is going to be a packed packed room, so you don't want to miss out on some of those good deals. And so actually, I'd like to turn the conversation back to Jamal for a sec, and I'd like to, so as the dealer coordinator, maybe let's talk about. Let's say I have never been to CybFest before, and I don't know anything about that. We're talking about like going to like a community common center, and we keep talking about like the gym. Paint a picture for us that have never been to CybFest before. What new fans that are just joining us here for this live stream or listening to the podcast, what they might be in for. Let's talk about kind of like the vibe of what CybFest is, and then we'll start talking about individual dealers and other cool stuff.
Well, one of the things about CybFest is that Ben and Jason have done a really good job of trying to make it more than just a toy show. But the funny thing about it is that at the end of the day, the dealer room always ends up being the biggest attraction. That always ends up being the biggest reason for people to come. They want to find some deals. They want to try and score some figures that they have been looking for. Maybe they don't want to pay day prices for them, perhaps. So it still remains kind of being the biggest attraction. And I think for somebody who's coming to CybFest the first time, the really cool thing about it is that when you come in that dealer room, I mean, we're all at that age where we would go to Toys R Us and we'd be able to see aisles of toys and stuff like that. But for the dealer room, it's kind of like walking in and just tables and tables and tables of Transformers. And so for any Transformer fan, it's just a really great place to be able to find lots of figures, all kinds of different deals. And with all there's a wide range of figures too. That's the other thing. It's not just the newest stuff, but then you also have, mint and sealed card stuff and mint and sealed box stuff from previous years and previous collections. So if somebody missed out on stuff and they wanted to kind of dip back, then, they'll be able to find some great stuff in the dealer room. And since I came on board, one of the things that was probably kind of more my trademark was I got a little bit creative, and I had, I think before I became the dealer coordinator, I think most of the tables were like single table booths. And so it was kind of like single table booths, but a lot of them. And I had come up with the idea of, well, what if we kind of put some larger booths in there so that people that had more stuff had more room? And as near as I can tell, that's been working out quite successfully. So that's kind of something that I'm really glad that I was able to suggest and that we were able to implement because, and correct me if I'm wrong, Ben, but I kind of feel like we probably have gotten some vendors that we wouldn't have been able to get before because we had bigger booths to be able to sell versus just everybody being on a single table.
Well, we have accommodated some of the bigger dealers by letting them buy multiple tables.
Okay.
But to have it set up ahead of time where they can just go, I know I want a larger space, so I'm just going to get this bigger table section and have it already kind of explained what it was going to be shaped like and stuff like that. And we always had like the corner tables, but the idea of having kind of multiple tier stuff has always been very helpful for dealers and stuff. So
yeah, and it's such a wide variety of stuff too, especially with us having the artists in there. Because that's the other thing about it too is as much as I like collecting Transformers, for example, some of the artwork that you can get is really cool. I mean, the year we had David K, I was able to get a print that I probably wouldn't be able to walk in any store and buy and get his autograph on it. Just a lot of cool different stuff. I got some great stickers from Ashley, who was one of our vendors last year, and I hear she's got some very cool stuff for this year. So
I am gonna go pour at Ashley's table. I mean,
she
just keeps making more buttons and more prints, and it's like stuff I want. I'm like, stop making Soundwave stuff. I'm gonna go pour. But I'm getting ahead of myself.
Yeah. So, but I really have a lot of fun at the dealer room, and it's great being able to talk to the dealers too, and kind of get a feel for what they need. It kind of helps me prepare for the next year, kind of keep things in mind as well. So, it was a good spot for me to land in.
Yeah.
For being the new person on the staff and coming on board.
Well, and I thought being a couple time offender, a couple time attendee, I really appreciated the layout of last year's show. It was like, I mean, again, like we were talking about, it's like, there was adequate distance, so folks felt comfortable, but it also felt full. It's like it was bigger than I was expecting. To be honest, I was really pleased with just the way it was set up. So, with that being said, let's kind of talk about how the setup is this year. So, like, I had just mentioned that all of the dealer tables are sold out, and we know with safety concerns still being in place. How's the floor plan going to compare with years past? Do we have fewer vendors, or are we getting creative with how they're set up? Maybe let's talk about that a bit.
So the floor plan is actually very similar, but I believe compared to last year, we are doing two more Voyager tables than we did before, the two table booths, and um, and then one of our vendors needed something bigger than the leader class table booths, which is the three tables, and so I kind of did a little bit of creative spacing so that they can have literally a double size leader booth. So they're going to work with like six tables. So that's going to be a really big vendor. And I liked the idea of how we had the aisles last year. As far instead of people just making one big circle around the gym and stuff like that, I like the idea of having some of those middle aisles so that people can not only walk around but they can kind of cross and I just kind of felt like that spread out the traffic a little bit better. So that was something I retained from last year.
Mm-hmm.
But this year I tried to kind of squeeze it a little bit more, and that's something I'm going to be paying attention to for next year, because if the way that I'm having kind of the foot traffic go works out really well as far as people feeling like they can get around the dealer room pretty easily, but if after this year it looks like, oh, I could have put another Voyager table on this side, or we could have put
Yeah.
some more deluxes here, I'm going to be kind of paying attention to that so that we can have that room to grow the show a little bit more, and have a few more vendors than maybe we're having this year. So
Gotcha.
I'm hoping everybody will like it. I'm hoping they'll feel like they can still move around, but I'm hoping they also feel like, wow, there's a lot of stuff here, a lot of vendors to be able to check out and see. So
Very cool. Very exciting. And the reason why I wanted to go so deep into this is just to kind of show the care and consideration that the CybFest Northwest staff goes into planning this stuff. It's not like just, oh, okay, well, we're back in the gym and we're just going to throw up a bunch of tables and just whatever, hope for the best. It's like, no, there's always been a conscientious effort towards care and concern. So I just kind of wanted to spotlight that. Ben, I'd like to pop to you for a second, and then Liz, I'll ask you the same question. I guess I liked the answer that Jamal gave when we were talking about how you would describe CybFest, because I would imagine that we all have different answers. So Ben, what could you describe? For somebody who has never been to CybFest before, what it looks like once you enter the depths of the Kent Commons Community Center, conveniently located right across from the Showware Center there in downtown Kent, and right around the corner from the Kent Center too. Kent Station event.
It's a Transformer Wonderland, really. I mean, you enter there and it's. Hopefully you have a good stamina to take in all the robot goodness that surrounds you when you enter those hollowed doors, and and it's I want there to be something for everybody, from the people that are old school G1 to the kids that are just discovering it with Cyberverse. We want it to be inclusive. We want it to be fun. And we want it to not just be another toy show, but be entertainment. We have lots of activities. And like Jamal said, we usually have a kids play area. We talked about it. We decided that it probably wasn't the best idea with COVID still being an issue. The play area was my baby. I really wanted that to be there. I had a young son when we started CybFest, so I remember going to a BotCon that had Hasbro had set up a play area for kids, and I mean it was all their brand new toys that were coming out or have just come out, and it had like cool dioramas to play on and stuff like that. And I was just like, this was so much fun, and my son just got lost in that world of being able to play with this stuff. And you know, usually if a parent's taking a kid to a toy convention, they're probably going to walk out with a toy or two, but this gives them an opportunity to play a bit. We still expected the parents to watch the kids, but it also gives the parents a chance to look around and see what there is to see. But yeah, entertainment, toys, community, these are the foundations for CybFest.
Absolutely. I love that. So how about you, Liz? So again, for the CybFest newbie, like let's say you're talking to me here on the live stream and we're traveling back to 2018 and I've never been to a CybFest before. What am I in store for?
So CybFest Northwest is the ultimate treasure hunt. Whether your treasure is toys or art or Lego Transformers that transform, or maybe the real treasure is the friends we made along the way.
Aww.
But
We accomplished
it is,
something.
yay! But you're definitely going to find at least one of those things and probably all four. So you go into CybFest, you're going to find obviously a plethora of toys. You're going to find every generation, every iteration. There's a character you want, you're going to find them there. You're going to find plenty of art. You're going to find other cool things that you were not expecting to find, and then you go, oh man, I didn't know I need that. Now my wallet's empty. And then you are going to find new friends as well.
Yes, and the ATM is sometimes too far away. There's I'm like, if I go, I'm running the risk, and there was one time where I forget what it was, but it was like I went to the ATM and I went back and whatever I was getting was already gone. So
my first CybFest that almost happened to me, but people are so nice, especially when you are like a teenager and you're like you've got big wide eyes and you're like, whoa. There's a Transformers Prime set that I didn't know existed. It's $40. I don't have $40. Will you hold it for me while I go to the ATM and get $40? And they're like, okay. And then you run and you come back with $40, and that's how you make new friends.
Absolutely. Well, I hear friendship is magic, and that's that's on brand. It's all Hasbro. It's all. I think I've used that joke a lot, but
yeah. But
so
Brian King, one of the dealers, his challenge is always to find some Bumblebee thing that I don't have already. So that's his. Really, I think that's the only reason why CybFest is existence is just for Ryan King to find a Bumblebee for me that I don't have, which is getting very, very difficult.
I would imagine. Well, and our good buddy Ryan does have some. He seems to be able to find these very obscure, hard to find artifacts. It's like his collection has like transcended just like regular toys. He's like, yeah, toys, whatever. Yeah, give me like the toothbrushes and the two-way walkie-talkies and like all of the party plates and like I went to his table. I think it was last year. He's like, here, have some napkins, have some party plates. I still have them, and they're very, very cool. The plastic wrap has gotten a little sticky and a little supple, but you would imagine that after 30 plus years.
He's like a historian, with this stuff, and he's been buying up a lot of like, I think scripts and storyboards and stuff like that whenever he can. But he's like an archivist for Transformers.
Segue?
Huh?
What's that?
I said, was that an intentional segue?
Absolutely
No.
not. I don't do
No.
anything intentionally.
Suspicious.
No, I
Yes.
really
Yes,
don't.
sus.
You give me far too much credit.
Yeah.
Well, and
Yes,
Ryan's
sus.
actually a really good example of one of our vendors that has always brought some really unique toys, Transformer toys to sell. I mean, I think last year he had like figures from Beast Wars the Second and Beast Wars Neo. I mean, all Japanese exclusive stuff. You know, and that's not something that you can see a whole bunch of different figures from that series on a table in one shot. So,
Or
Yeah,
like bedding.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The sheets and stuff. Yeah, no,
bedding or plates
yeah,
or napkins. Yeah.
yeah. Ryan's awesome. He is a member of the Nike Air Monarch Mafia, along with me and Nathan. We rock the narcs, narc life.
But I think I know what Liz was getting at, which is Ryan is going to be on a panel with me and Liz, help me with her name.
Monica.
Monica, thank you.
Yeah.
And we're talking about like kind of weird, obscure Transformer things. So
It is going to
oddities.
be a super
Oddities.
cool panel.
So yeah, I'm gonna be bringing mostly weird Bumblebee things, but
I
Just,
looped Monica in. Monica collects a bunch of knockoff Transformers. She finds like the absolute worst knockoffs she can, and they're hilarious. We were joking about doing dramatic readings of the backs of the knockoffs because they say things like, oh, like deform transmorphal, and you're like, oh yeah, I want a deform transmorphable. So that's fun and exciting.
That's awesome. Monica always has cool stuff on her table. It's like there's some things I haven't had the courage to buy any of it because I almost just want to look at it because like I forget what she had. She had some weird like mutant unicorn thing that was very bizarre.
Oh, I love the unicorn. There's two Transformers, you smash them together and they pop up into a unicorn. It's fantastic.
Oh, that thing is awesome.
That's what it was.
I've seen that like on videos and stuff.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
I think we should run a knockoff CybFest called Transmorphable Con.
Yeah, Transmorphicon.
And we sell and there's nothing but knockoff stuff and things that aren't Transformers.
Have it be the after show for CybFest.
Yeah, that's when Hasbro's gonna
The
actually
seedier side of the Transformer.
Yeah.
CybFest After Dark.
Yeah, there you go. That's awesome. Well, so before we kind of go through like some of the panels and some of the attractions, and then certainly the vendors and artists, there's a handful of folks I want to give shout outs to, and then there'll be time for me to ask you. It's like, hey, did I miss anybody? Because I know there's a lot of cool vendors and artists that I'm not acquainted with, and I just want to make sure that we shout out as many of our friends as possible and kind of really illustrate the awesome diversity that comes with CybFest, because again, it's not just a toy show. It's art, it's collectibles, it's community, it's fun. But before we do too much more of that, I saw my buddy George Soroy is hanging out in the chat. He says hello everybody, so we'll give George a wave. And I will remind folks that we are here live. It's a live stream, and we're on like pretty much every panel. I saw that the CybFest accounts tossed me some retweets and some shares. Thumbs up. Thank you much. And so it's if you have a question or something you would like us to address while we're here about CybFest or about Transformers topics in general, that'll give us something to dip in and out of. That way it's less of a advertisement, but it's totally an advertisement because please come to CybFest because it's fun and it rules. And anyway, so yeah, don't be shy. Like whatever platform you're watching on, feel free and jump into those comments and interact with us. And again, you know, it's CybFest Northwest. It's a celebration for Transformers fans, young and old, new and long time. Come out and celebrate Transformers at CybFest Northwest. That's going to be happening July 23rd at the Kent Commons Community Center in Kent, Washington, right across from the Showware Center and right near the Kent Station Shopping Center. The show hours are going to be from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. Registration has been extended to July 16th, so there's still time to pre-register, so you can get in at 10 o'clock instead of 11 o'clock and get in on some of those sweet deals. I also want to let folks know admission to CybFest Northwest is $10 for adults. That includes children ages 13 and up, $5 for the kiddos 5 to 12, and kids 0 to 4 get in free. And then there's a special family rate, $25 for 2 adults and 2 to 5 children. And actually, since I had the organization team here, I read that straight from the website. So $25 for 2 adults and 2 to 5 children. So I can bring 5 children and 2 adults and get in for 25. Is that how that works?
It was a
Hopefully they're
very,
your kid.
very long.
That's insane. That's just.
There was a lot of discussion that went into that specific package as to like what the limit should be and what the like how far could we like bend this, and how could people potentially push this, and it was a very, very long drawn out discussion to make a family package happen.
Gotcha. Well, it's much appreciated. It's very awesome, and again, it's a good reminder that CybFest is a family friendly show and is about making cool, safe spots for the kiddos as well. So I guess from there, so we talked kind of about what the show kind of is from like a top down thing. So yeah, I guess now let's get a little more granular, and we'll talk about panels and contests and all this other cool stuff. But I think since we were talking dealers for a few, I'd like to shift the focus to some of the artists that are going to be attending. So, Liz, could you kind of help us out with you're kind of like the artist coordinator type of person, and I was wondering if we could chat about kind of like that side of what folks can expect when they roll into the dealer room, because we got some really cool folks and some folks that I haven't met yet, so I'm excited for new friendships as well.
I am very, very excited about the artists we have this year. With the dealer layout, we do have it set up so the artists are one of the first things you see when you walk in. We've got Ben Hansen back again. He's kind of a staple now. He's got a big booth. He's going to be right up front when you walk in the doors. He's going to be one of the first people you see. We've got Billy Montfort, who is now an IDW artist, is going to be coming back. Going to be selling some prints and doing signings and things like that. Ashley Artley's going to be there. I love her stuff. She started vending last year. I've been talking to her a little bit longer than that, and I'm super excited about all these prints that she's been churning out and getting ready for CybFest. I am a sticker person. You guys can't see it, but my whole desk is sticker bombed. You can kind of see it a little bit. So I am very pumped about many stickers from Ashley. And then we've also got Yumi's coming back. Yumi's been at CybFest, I think, pretty much every year. She was one of the people who got me a little bit more excited when I came into CybFest, because when I first walked into CybFest, I was really into Transformers, but I wasn't really into the toy side of things. I was more into like the fandom side of like stories and art and things like that. And I walked in and I saw Yumi's booth and I was like, oh, it's not just toys, there's art too. And I got super excited. And that was one of the things that made me think, okay, we need more art at CybFest. So I'm super excited that Yumi's coming back. I know she's got a whole bunch of IDW1, like More Than Meets the Eye type things there. She's got great art. Eric is going to be there. Eric's art style is amazing. Eric has, I don't know how to describe it. They're very like chunky kind of posters. They look sort of,
Well, actually,
Bad words,
if you
yeah.
don't mind, I think I can actually share my screen here because
Fantastic.
I have their Twitter up.
Fantastic.
Because
Yes.
you're right. It is difficult to describe. So
It is so cool.
let me see if I can
I need that
see
on my
that at
wall.
the same time. Can I scroll that?
There you go.
So
yeah.
I like that.
So cool.
I love that Rodimus print. That is beautiful.
Oh, that's just a bunch of her retweets. So we'll
go
just
to the media tab.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. There
Oh
we go.
yeah.
Oh, it's so cute.
love
Ben's
that.
buying that one.
I probably need that in my life. I need that in my life.
Oh, the
Cygate.
tailgate print. It's
I
so
love it.
cute.
I love it.
I love it. It's beautiful.
I have a silly funny Eric story. They were at TFCon LA, and I was at TFCon LA, and I walked by their table at one point, kind of like when you do like that first lap around, and I was like, "Oh, hey Eric, I need to go back," and I never made it back. So so I ended up messaging them on Twitter. I was like, "Oh, hey, by the way, I meant to buy those soft sound waves from you," and ended up sending it to me. And it's like, bro, I live in Renton. It's just kind of funny how you connect with folks. Oh, you got yourself some Elite Trine there. So good.
I think I did that
good.
to you of TFCon once. It was when Ben and Jason and I were like skittering around the dealer room, and I saw you in passing, and you were like, "Hey," and I was like, "Hi, Mike," and then I like left. I did not see you for the rest of the weekend.
No, you didn't see me at all for the whole rest of the weekend, but you did give me a button. You gave me a record button.
Yeah, we were so busy that weekend. There was so much to do, but I've got to make it to another TFCon sometime, and then I can actually hang out with people. That print is perfect for you, Mike.
Yes. So
Ashley's
I mean,
in the chat. Hi, Ashley. We were just talking about you. All good things, I promise.
Yes, all
That's
good
why
things.
she joined in. She's like, I heard something.
It's like,
if you will.
yeah, exactly. It's like what are these people saying about me? But yeah, so let me see. Where am I at? Let me unshare my
I'm
screen
personally
there.
looking forward to more of Ashley's stickers because I've got another Hydro Flask ready to stick her up.
Nice.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, so let's see. Well, since Ashley's in the chat, should I bring up your Twitter or your Facebook? Where's more of the stuff? Let me see.
I think Ashley's pretty good about sharing to both.
That is true. All right, so let's bring up Ashley's stuff here. Go to boop. Yeah, that's what's up. So yeah, buying all those.
I love that.
Yeah.
Donut character from Bots. I love it.
I love that. But yeah, I mean,
yay!
I mean.
Actually, I love the AI generated Devastator for the pose. That is such a cool like that's such a cool background thing to see. What a great idea. Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
Scroll down a little bit further for the Devastator. I saw that and I thought, why the hell is she not working for IDW? I mean, this is
Devastator. That's amazing.
It's amazing. Yeah. I mean, all of her artwork is amazing. It's got a lot of personality. It's just great. But I mean, I just sat there and went, this is pro level. This is.
It really is. Well, and in a lot of ways, I mean, it's not always great to make comparisons, but it reminds me of Billy's artwork a lot too. Like in the use of vibrant colors, and that's one of the things that really struck me about Ashley's art right away. I mean, especially like the attention to detail. And just the great composition and just incredible stuff.
Well, and the thing that strikes me about her Devastator print is that it kind of reminds me of it reminds me of a bit of the Dreamwave art.
Yes.
Like, it's not
Yeah.
exact, but it kind of reminds me of it. So it's like, if you're somebody who loved the Dreamwave stuff, then I just feel like you're going to really love Ashley's work.
Yeah, it has kind of that throwbacky texture to it, almost like a Don Figueroa vibe to it, for sure.
Yeah.
I look at it and I go, because there's some Transformer artists that throw in a lot of just really minute details, and it almost becomes too much, kind of like overwhelming to look at. And this is like that perfect blend of just enough detail and stuff to just really brings it all together without being just overbearing with little minute details. Just getting all those right details.
Yeah.
It's just great.
Absolutely. Well, and apropos of nothing, this has nothing to do with art, and I know since Ashley is in the chat also, she's been giving me some hair care tips as well. I've been working on getting those big gains. I'm obsessed with Captain Pike's aesthetic in Strange New Worlds, and so like I put this out. I'm like, how can I do this? And Ashley immediately gave me like a couple different product tips and some other stuff as well. And I'm working on it, still kind of growing it out some. But Pike's Peak is going to be a thing. That's gonna be a thing.
I think I saw that exchange on Twitter.
Yes. Yeah, it's awesome.
I
so let's
just saw
see.
Ashley's comments, so it seems like we were kind of right on the nose about Dreamwave being a bit of an influence.
Well, yeah, and especially the Unicron trilogy box art. Guido, Don, James Reyes, Marcelo. All of them. Yeah, that's absolutely right. I mean, and it captures that aesthetic, but yeah, I mean, the colors are just so vibrant. I love it. So let's see. Let me unshare that. Otherwise, we're just gonna look at Ashley's art all night, which actually is just fine because I was gonna say it's like I will certainly be buying enough of it.
Oh,
Welcome to the Ashley podcast.
Yes, exactly. Well, and it's kind of funny too because like so my work schedule has been I haven't been as available to do as many interviews as I would like. I'd really like to spend some time with Ashley and just kind of talk about these influences and really get to know her and her art quite a bit better. So Liz, you had who did you mention also? Because I want to give equal time if I can.
Yeah.
Because I mean it's art, it's visual, and we're here on video. Let me see if I can. Let me see if
Yumi was the
post
other
as
one.
much.
Yeah. Billy, Yumi, Ben.
Ben Hen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, yeah, Billy doesn't post all that much stuff.
Billy's big leagues
but
now.
right,
Yeah.
right, exactly.
Yumi is Hiromaru, but I'm not sure. They draw a lot of stuff that's not Transformers too, so that might be a little bit harder to pull up.
Right. But let me just bring up that the Shockwave.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's so pretty.
That's one of my favorite Shockwaves, and if I can find it, their RC is one of my favorite renditions of the character.
Hold on, I'm pulling out my portfolio.
Yeah, because
I've got here we go. Yeah, let's go.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, there it is. It's double worlds. I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
And I've got their format. Actually, I'm not. That one's theirs, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's right.
I also got a journal of their RC print that I ended up beating to death because it went in a backpack bouncing around for so long. So I gotta get another one.
Oh, here we go. All right, I got it. I went to the Redbubble page. I figured it out. Here we go. So I remember the first time I saw this piece was at TFCon Toronto, and I have a weird habit of meeting artists from the Pacific Northwest at completely other places, and so the RC definitely caught my eye, the Whirl caught my eye, and what I was doing for that convention is I had my little portable recorder, and I was looking to do interviews with the fan artists to get to know them and say like, well, hey man, tell me about your art and what brings you up here to TFCon in Toronto. And one of the questions I asked folks was where they're from, and then Billy was like, yeah, I'm from like the Bremerton area, and I'm like, wait a second. Full stop. And this was like, I think like a month before that year's CybFest. I was like, you gonna be at CybFest, by the way? And they're like, yeah, bro. I'll be, but like I've always loved this rendition of RC. It's just very fierce, and it kind of it blends a little bit for my taste, the best of IDW1, but also still retaining some of that G1 DNA that kind of gets lost in translation sometimes with certain other artists' rendition of the characters. But anyway, I always thought this was super rad.
Yeah, Billy's colors are gorgeous.
Yes, and that's the thing, just striking, gorgeous colors. Let me see. Now, let me see if I can find this here. No, go ahead. You're fine. You're fine.
Are you in the studio?
I am in the studio, yeah. It's totally fine. And I always forget to turn the light on, and I feel bad because like the nice lady that comes in and collects the recycle bins is always like, oh snap, I didn't see you there. Like she always has this look like she caught me just coming out of the shower or something. It's like, no, it's fine. You do your job. I'm just doing silly stuff here.
Yeah, you gotta have her on,
Yeah, exactly. So what was I looking for? Give me just a brief moment here. I was looking to see if I could find. Oh, that's Ryan's stuff. Now I'm just scrolling through the group. Okay, there's Greg's stuff. I want to talk about that.
We gotta stall for time. Someone do a dance.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there we go. This is what I was looking for. I was looking for Yumi's page on, or not the page, but the post from the Facebook group.
Yeah, there it is.
I knew if I looked hard enough, I'd be able to find their stuff, but like Yumi's stuff is very striking. First of all, tons of stickers, tons of buttons. I love that, but like I like it's both very bright and vibrant, but also I'm trying to find a word other than just dark, but it's very evocative. Mm-hmm. Like, just moody, I think would be a better mood a way to describe that.
Atmospheric.
Atmospheric, yeah. It's got an atmospheric moodiness to it that I think is very expressive in their art. Very, very cool stuff.
I've collected quite a few CybFest lanyards now, because I'll forget mine and then I'll get another one. But I've got one of my CybFest lanyards is just covered end to end in Yumi's buttons, because there's so
nice.
many. I gotta start clearing it up and moving it to be a little bit more aesthetic, but I think it's appropriate.
I love it. Very nice. Well, you know what? I'm just am I just going to go through the group here and just screen share these some of these posts? I might.
There you go. Yeah. I need more of our dealers to fill out forms when I send them to them so that I can post more people's pictures on social media. But the people that posted that sent in their forms got posted on social media. So
Yeah.
that means they get more exposure.
Yes.
The moral of the
And
story is when I send you things, respond, and that means you get
yeah,
special treatment.
exposure bucks.
Yeah.
Exposure bucks. Do you need anything from me, by the way? Because I don't know if
You
I've
can-
if
I will.
I have an unanswered call somewhere.
Yeah, if you send me pictures to post, I will post a big thing of "Come find Mike in the corner over here," and Mike will interview you. Yeah.
That doesn't sound weird at all. Come find Mike in the
No,
corner.
that doesn't sound weird
We
at
didn't
all.
give him a table; he's just curled up like a goblin.
Exactly. So on the screen, I got my dude Renee and Atomic Mariachi Robot, one of the highlights of CybFest, I think. First of all, just is there a more positive dude walking this earth? I don't think so. I'll fight you on that. But yeah, no, I just so much cool stuff all the time. Let's see where do we want to go from there. I'm just like I said, I think since I'm thinking about it, let me just scroll through these posts and burn through those real quick, and then we'll because I want to show off that's what it is. If you're listening to this on a podcast, you're tearing your hair out, being like you're describing stuff that I can't see, but that's all right.
Yes.
But I knew this was here in the group, Greg and his 3D printed stuff, which has always been a highlight. So he's Greg has a variety of things. It looks like he's got a bunch of 3D printed matrices, the Matrix of Leadership.
They're fidget spinners.
Are they?
Yes, I'm very excited.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Oh, I see it now. I see the mechanism. So they're 3D printed Autobot Matrix of Leadership fidget spinners. That's super cool.
That's gonna be my new desk toy.
I
Greg
absolutely
really does some great work with his 3D printing because I actually got a Decepticon throne from him for my Siege Megatron, and we're talking years before we ever got the Studio Series Coronation Starscream. Years before that throne. I
don't know if I've. I was going to say, have you posted pictures of that? I don't know if I've seen that.
I've never posted pictures of that. I probably should.
Ah, very cool, very nice. Because yeah, it's like brief tangent. I was really surly about them throwing in the throne with Coronation Starscream. I was like, that's the Nemesis throne. That has nothing to do with the movie. Get this get this cash grab out of my 86 movie line. But you know what? As soon as I got it, I cannot stop playing with it. It's like every figure I have, I see if they fit in the throne. I've gotten so much play value out of that stupid chair. I play with the throne more than I play with Starscream. It's like I think I've transformed him back and forth once. I've taken some pictures with him with all of the accoutrements and regalia, but it's the damn throne I go back to. It's just too much fun.
I'm gonna start buying y'all Barbie furniture.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's what it is. So Hasbro tricked us into oh, look at that.
Yes.
Look at that. Let me switch the screens.
That's the throne that Greg did.
That is so cool.
Really nice deep purple.
I love deep purple.
Yeah.
but no,
it was pretty cool because I had to measure my Megatron for him to be able to kind of customize it. And I hadn't quite got the measurements right the first time, and it was a little bit lighter shade of a purple. So when he redid it for me, he made it darker.
Nice.
And but yeah, no, it's a really nice piece.
Well, and it's got a nice heft to it too.
Completely solid. It's not like it's hollow on the inside. I think and it might be hollow, and it just might be some additional printing for the underside. But it doesn't feel hollow. That's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't feel hollow. So whether it is sturdy or not, still, it's a fantastic
sturdy.
Piece.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fantastic piece.
I love the fact that Greg is a part of CybFest because
yes,
He started CyberCon, I think, 2000.
I
Maybe
want to say
1999?
2003, I think he said.
Was it 2003? Okay, 2000. Okay, I thought it was a little earlier than that.
Because he was saying that it just started off as a gathering at his place, and then it kind of eventually got big enough to where he had to go like rent a room. And I remember the first CyberCon I went to, he was doing it at a meeting room down in Auburn, like in one of the parks
Yeah.
down there.
So I think 2003 might have been his first like at a place that was outside of his house. Because I think my first CyberCon was 2004.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And incidentally, if you go back and check out the CybFest Northwest YouTube channel from the 2020 virtual CybFest, there was a panel talking about all of the history of CybCon and CybFest, and I don't remember who all was on that panel, but Greg was there as well, and you guys just kind
It was me
of
and
broke
Greg.
down. Yeah, that's right. That's right. And that was incredibly informative, talking about like, the history of how Transformers conventions kind of came to be here in the Pacific Northwest.
He deserves all the credit, really. I mean, if it wasn't for Greg, there would be no CyberFest. I don't know if me and Jason and Jamal, I don't know if we would have. I mean, first of all, I don't know if I would have ever met Jamal in person. We talk online or whatever, but and I certainly don't know if I would have ever met Liz. I mean, so it's if CybCon didn't exist, then I wouldn't have met half the people that I know through this fandom, and I wouldn't have probably started a Transformer convention on my own without that kind of guidance to kind of help through those kind of first couple years and stuff. So he deserves, like I said, all the credit for it.
I want to pop in real quick and interrupt a little bit.
Please.
There is absolutely no way I would have ever met any of you people without CybFest. In 2003, I was 6. But no, I moved to Washington.
Good thing my gray hair is not showing too badly.
I can't hide mine.
Washington, and, I was 16 when I came to my first CybFest, and I walked in and I was like, wow, this is Transformers, and there's other people that like Transformers. That's wild. And then I joined a bunch of Facebook groups, and I realized that a bunch of you guys met online, and I've never been in those spaces. So there's absolutely no way I would have ever met any of you guys, any of the people that I'm friends with in the Transformers community here and locally now. It just wouldn't have happened. So CybFest is just so big.
We made the sighting section on TFW infamous.
Yeah. Liz just maybe it was only that year or a couple years after she started coming, started helping out, like cleaning up and stuff like that.
I butted my head in and I just started doing stuff without asking.
Jumped
first,
in.
So.
I mean,
that's right. I remember that.
It was amazing, and so she got put on the radar really quick by just being willing to do just like anything to help out, and it was awesome. So she was like
my phone in hand and my Starbucks in my other, and I said, "Have you guys ever used Twitter?" And they said no.
Well, and it's funny because I remember that, because like when I met Ben prior to 2018, maybe it was late 17, I don't remember anymore, but like it was one of those things like where I had heard about CybFest from my buddy Nick, who's he doesn't pop up his face too terribly much, but he's always like, hey Mike, you should go chat with this person. Hey, did you know that there's a Transformers convention? You should go chat with them. While not necessarily participating in the community himself, but yeah. So I was like, well, the show is really cool, but I'd like to, share some tweets or whatever. Oh, there's no tweets to share. Okay. All right. I see what we're dealing with here. It's fine.
I'm terrible with social media stuff. I don't post much on my Facebook thing. I just, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm very shy in that. I mean, I'm out here talking about CybFest and stuff like that, but in general, I'm just like, it's just, I have a hard time promoting myself and promoting the things that I do,
Well,
except
and
for
I
like
think this is
I
kind of
understand.
what really helps make CybFest successful too, is just the mix of us that are on the organizers team. Because like Ben and Jason have been doing it for a while, so they have that history of knowing what works and what doesn't work and whatnot. And then, you know, with Liz's skill of social media and stuff like that, there's a lot of things she brought to the table that we probably weren't doing. And, you know, with all the years volunteering that I did, it really kind of fits in my wheelhouse of being a dealer coordinator, because then I'm talking to the same people that I was volunteering and helping out with to be in the first place. And so it kind of gives that connection or that bridge between attendees and dealers and the organizers for the role that I do. So I
if it
think we got a
wasn't
good.
for if it wasn't for Liz, I'd still be on MySpace. I mean, that's she's truly brought a lot of influence to my life.
Well, and you know, and there's one other positive about CybFest too that I don't think was mentioned. I mean, think about all the people that have a chance to go to a Transformers convention and a Transformers show that have never been because they can't afford to go to BotCon.
Yeah. Or TFCon.
Or they can't afford to go to TFCon. Because, I mean, if it wasn't for CybCon and CybFest, I wouldn't have been able to go to a Transformers show. I've never been able to go to BotCon.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's the other thing that's really great about the show, aside from just the family friendliness and everything that we do. It's the fact that you have something local you can go to, that you don't have to buy a $700 plane ticket and hotel accommodations and this and that. You know, you can go for a day and have fun and still be able to go back home.
Well, and focus all of your financial resources on buying stuff from
On the
folks.
goodies.
You know,
Yes.
yeah, I mean, all the stuff.
On
You
the
know, all
goodies.
the dealers, all the vendors, all the artists, and so I know we kind of tangented all over the place, and I took us all over the road. Are there any particular vendors, artists, dealers that we want to shout out that we haven't yet?
I have a list, so I'll let y'all go first.
Oh, cool. Good. Lists are good.
I've kind of shouted out the ones that really stand out to me. I mean, they're all great. They all have so many great things to buy, and so many of the dealers have been really great with my son coming in. You know, at 8 years old, 9 years old, like handing them $2 and be like, oh yeah, that we'll sell you that for $2 or whatever. You know, just So I mean, Jamal has more known on like all the different dealers that are around and that we have this year.
We got a lot of good variety too, because for example, CY is going to be having a table set this year, and anybody who knows CY, he used to run Kicks up in Northgate, so he'll be having a table again. We got Amazing Heroes that's going to be there, and then we have some repeat vendors that'll be coming back. You know, we got Ryan King will be coming back, and we also got Jay who's going to be coming back. And Jay he always had a lot of Beast Wars and Machine Wars stuff and whatnot, so he brought some really good variety. And then also one of the people that did a lot of volunteering for us for CybFest for years, along with me, Ryan Neville, he's going to be having a booth as well. And then,
nice.
Gosh, who else? I'm trying to think of the layout in my head.
Yeah.
Yeah, Peggy and Lee McCracken, they're going to be having a booth.
That's
Kenneth
special because
Robinson's
they
going to
don't
be
do
having a
that
booth.
anymore.
And there's even actually some vendors who are having booths because they know other people who have come to CybFest for many years. We have some vendors that are having booths because they know Peggy and Lee. So
Dustin has a booth this year, right?
Yes, and Dustin does have a booth this year as well. So yeah, a lot of, and these are all people who have been in the community a long time too. So it's gonna be a lot of variety of stuff, which will be nice.
Yeah. I mean, you got Infinite Iterations and Records Junk Emporium collaborations. They hit me up on Facebook. Apparently, they're selling some Transformers, but they also have a large range of 3D printed Transformers accessories and thrones like Teletran 1, the Optimus Prime Deathbed, and licensed Transformers conversion upgrades from
Optimus
Lazy.
Prime Deathbed. I still need that for my universe. Dead Optimus Prime.
I need it. I need it for my alternate. I mean, like, ironically enough, though, the way the trailer is, it actually kind of works.
We complain
have
about
a
how
deathbed
traumatic
so
it
you
was
can
to our
position-
childhood, and yet we want to recreate it.
Yeah, you got to have the deathbed so you can position Perceptor and Cup and Blur and Ultra Magnus there. Have Perceptor in microscope mode. I fear the wound is fatal.
Yeah. Well, and all of them, all of the characters in that room have come out in the current generations line. So, you know, it's like you got yourself a contemporary Ultra Magnus and a Cup and a Perceptor and a Hot Rod and an RC and a Springer. Yeah. So, yeah, I might have to check that out. Get myself a deathbed so I can create that. I add it to my 86 movie shrine. Terrific.
Well, and if you think about it for displays too, like the onset of all the 3D printing that people are doing and creating these different things like the deathbeds and thrones and all kinds of various stuff. I mean, Teletran 1, for example.
Yeah.
Like, we can do dioramas and scenes in our collections that 5-10 years ago we couldn't do. Like, we couldn't figure out how to do that. But now we've got people 3D printing all kinds of cool stuff. And so, you know, it's like when you see those Hasbro live streams and they're revealing figures and they talk about, can't wait to see what you guys do in your collections and whatnot. You know, it's not just what Hasbro's putting out there, but it's what artists and and fans who are doing the 3D printing and stuff like that are putting out there. It's a combination of all that. So, I mean, it's some really cool stuff to be able to get a lot of that 3D printed things and do some truly recreate scenes on your shelf.
Absolutely.
I think it's a lot of fun.
Well, and we know that Hasbro's always watching. You know, like in terms of like what fans are doing with their stuff. Yeah, exactly. But you know, it's amazing how like fan feedback ends up feedback looping back into what they do. Cause like, you know, they don't always listen to us, but occasionally they do, and pay attention to how we're interacting with the product.
Yeah. And if you've been a long time collector, you'll notice too that if you look at how Hasbro listens now, and how they listened even just 15 years ago in the infancy of the classics line. I mean, it's a pretty big difference.
Yeah.
It's a pretty huge difference, for sure.
Absolutely. So Liz, you had mentioned you have a list.
Yeah.
Would you like to go through your list, or do we want to move on? Where are you at?
So we've covered most of them. There's one left that I do want to shout out because most of mine were artists, honestly.
Sure, yeah,
but,
of course.
One of the first things I did when I joined the team, when we were planning for the next year, I went to Etsy and I scoured the Transformers tag and I scoured the Near Me tag. And I tried to line those categories up, and I wanted to reach out to people who might be interested in vending. And one person I found who has been at CybFest a few times now is Jeremy, who does Lego formers. And I've got this little Lego Windblade that I got from him. I've got a Lego RC on my shelf.
Oh my gosh.
She's all the way over there. And he's going to be here again. We put him kind of near the artists, but these are super cool. Number one, because you know they're Transformers. He was doing it before the Lego Optimus Prime came out, so he's the OG.
Right.
But the other thing too is, and I'm very very bad at it, but they all transform. So yeah, I'll let the pictures show because the way I'm going to do it is terrible.
Yeah.
You don't have to take them apart to transform them either. They've got the hinges built in. They've got you don't have to unsnap things or reassemble things. They just transform like a transformer does. And he's got the ones I have got Windblade and RC because those are the two characters I collect. But he's got Optimus, he's got Megatron, he's got Grimlock. I know he's got other ones. I do not know what they are. But his designs are just absolute feats of engineering that I cannot comprehend. So I'm very excited to see what he's got this year.
He's also been to BritCon too, displaying them as Lego, So it's kind of cool to interact with him in two different fandoms.
Yeah,
And
I was gonna say,
all
I would
original
imagine there's a
design
lot.
stuff that he's doing, right, Liz?
Yeah.
Like
He's
he's
got.
coming up with the design.
I
Yeah.
cannot process it. My brain does not work that way. But it's
If
so cool.
only when Hasbro was doing Creo could have found him, and that maybe Creo would have had a different fate. But I know a lot of the parts that he uses for his Lego creations are parts that have come out only in the last few years. So, which a lot of like rounded pieces and small hinges and stuff like that. So those are all, a lot of those pieces are fairly new, and therefore he's able to do these things now that he probably wouldn't have been able to do with the previous parts that were available.
It is so cool. He's such a neat addition to CybFest.
Yeah, it's very, very cool. So that's your list, Liz?
Well, we covered all the artists, and that was
Okay.
most of my lists. The other person,
I'm just making sure.
The other person I had on there was Monica. And I'm biased because Monica's one of my good friends, but
Yeah.
she does have. We were talking earlier. She's got just ridiculous stuff that you wouldn't find anywhere else, like the
Yeah.
unicorns. It's 2 race cars. You smash them together, and they pop up and they transform into a unicorn, and it's fantastic.
I love
it. She has a lot of what are my favorite Transformers knockoff line, because it is called Hot Soldiers. And
yes.
I just love the descriptions on knockoff Transformers, and she's got plenty of those if you would like to see them. So
Very nice.
Yeah.
Somebody I want to shout out is apparently we're going to have a mysterious return of Mahalo Mike in some fashion. Apparently, the blind boxes will not be returning. We've
he swore
exhausted
off it last year.
Well, he swore off it 2 years ago too, and then we saw what happened. So he's sworn off it before, but he keeps threatening in the CybFest Northwest Facebook group. He's like, I've got something planned. So Mike is such a cool dude.
Yes.
I spent a lot of time with him at TFCon LA. We just spent like an afternoon just hanging around by the pool. It was super, super cool. But yeah, just really sweet guy, and one of those collectors that I wish I had met earlier. And it's just it's just a testament to this great community of Transformers fan collectors here in the Pacific Northwest. Again, just so many great folks. So that's kind of like around the horn of like what you can see and who you can meet and all of that. That was a good snap, Liz. I could actually hear that through your microphone.
I'm so
by the
sorry.
way, no, it's fine. It was just like that was a good one. Either that, or it was just your microphone just turning. I don't know, but it sounded hollow, like celery. Sorry, I'm off the rails here. I'm off the rails in my own show, but we talked about a lot of the great people that you're going to meet on the show floor. Oh yeah, and I'm going to be there too. Apparently, I've got a table somewhere, and I'll be doing some
in
stuff.
the corner.
I was going to say whereabouts did you guys put me, or am I just going to find out on?
Us. Yeah, you're near the organizer.
Okay, very good. Nice. Oh, that's a good place to be. I like that.
You may not say that for long,
It
I
is
hang out by the organizer table. I may just be like peeking my head over the side and annoy you and stuff.
Perfect. Well, folks can come by and heckle me. I'm going to have my recording equipment, and if you, the would-be CybFest fan, if you would like to be a part of a upcoming episode of Mike Seibert Radio Podcast, stop by. I've got some softball questions for you, like what do you like about Transformers and things like that. I'm looking to see if folks want to have their voices heard on a podcast heard by tens and tens of people. so no pressure or anything like that, but that was something that my wife suggested. Lucky said, well, why not just bring your recorder and just ask folks if they want to talk about what they like about Transformers. And I was like, you should be doing this instead of me. But
or at least be your PR person.
Exactly.
The PR person. The PR person.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta go full Flavor Flav with the clock and everything, and I think that would work. Everybody needs a hype person, but yeah, actually, you know what? And since we're all here hanging out, I want to share a little bit of a project that I'm working on with a couple friends of mine.
Oh, did you pick a design?
Yes, it's not final, but I will have a collectible flyer at my table for Mike Seibert Radio podcast featuring artwork by Apollo, aka Robo Apollo. She did a Soundwave commission for me a while ago, and then my good buddy Andy at GoGo Andy Robo designed the latest Mike Seibert Radio podcast font letterhead design, and Andy came up with this quick, easy flyer design.
It looks so good.
And yeah, I mean, Andy is a design genius, and Apollo's art is just so awesome. Again, much like with Ashley and Billy, I think the thing that I love the most about fan art is the vibrant colors. And so when I commissioned Apollo to do this Soundwave a couple years ago, I was like, podcaster Soundwave. Just for some reason, I thought that would be a lot of fun. So he's got the microphone and the headphones, and why Soundwave needs extra headphones on top of having headphones, I don't know. But I will have these to hand out to folks with a fancy QR code where you can go listen to my podcast. So I wanted to show this off exclusively, a draft of the design that Andy's been working on. But yeah, I will have those at my table as well. So yeah, man, come hang out and do all that other fun stuff. Okay, so we talked about guests, we talked about dealers, we talked about artists. What's left? Panels. Yeah, so this is the return of panels to CybFest Northwest. So 2 years ago, during the Rona, we did virtual panels where it was like more panels than ever before, which I thought was really cool, and I think that created a interest in participants like myself, but also you guys, the organization team, is like, hey, let's put an emphasis on panels. So obviously with the safety regulations and I guess panels are back, but we're not going wall to wall like we would like to. Yeah, we're just kind of casually dipping our toe in because really we want to have a good, safe experience for everybody that's attending. And in fact, actually, side tangent, because I something I said, or we had talked about discussing before we went live here was the attention to regulations and safety precautions, and I realized that we've been talking for over an hour, and I don't think we've really touched on that as much as we probably should. But let's if we can, before we start talking about panels and whatnot, let's talk about one, I guess the safety concerns with regards to the ongoing pandemic, but also kind of how CybFest is handling and adapting, rolling with the punches, as Liz always says. So yeah, let's talk about that for a few.
That is my famous catchphrase.
It is. Yeah. Should be on a t-shirt.
So the main thing was we're following Washington State, mandates. I mean, we didn't want to change things up too much as far as like requiring things that other places weren't requiring. So masks are optional, highly recommended, and vaccinations are not mandatory. Once again, we recommend it. We hope that everyone does what's safe for the community, but we're not going to force things on them if the government's not going to force things on people.
Right.
My wife, who has been a volunteer for many years, may or may not be there. She's had a recent transplant, and so now she's now in the immunocompromised side of things, and so I'm going to be extra careful, and she may or may not be there helping out. She used to help out at the kids' play area, and she would, kind of watch the toys and she would do face painting and stuff like that. So those kind of fun things. So, but unfortunately, because the mandates are what they are, Blackie Shepherd, who was going to be one of our special guests, wasn't feeling comfortable enough with the state of things to come in person. So we're going to try to make it work via some sort of online component to it, and bring them in that way. So we respect anybody's decisions on this. I mean, it's what's best for everyone's own comfort and their own family's comfort and stuff. So that's extremely important.
Absolutely. And sorry, Jamal, go
I was
ahead.
just going to say, and I can speak to the layout part of it too. So with the layout, this year I tried to do a few more dealers than we had last year. So there's still some space so that people can feel comfortable with the space between vendors and the space to walk around. But at the same time, I still tried to kind of do things in a way that we could increase the vendors and have at least a few more vendors. So one of the things that I retained from the previous year that I felt really worked well and kind of helped break things up as far as the crowd and where people could walk is, you can still kind of do a circle around CybFest, but I kept the rows where you could cut across from one side of the gym to the other to give people just a little more room to walk around, a little more options on walking around. So hopefully that will help people kind of feel comfortable with any social distancing that they might prefer to do, while still being able to see plenty of vendors and still be able to get around CybFest pretty easily. So that's something that will probably be fine-tuned and adjusted over time as we get further through the pandemic and hopefully someday further away from the pandemic.
Certainly. And one of the things that struck me and impressed me with last year's CybFest being, in lower capacity but still in person, was that there was some rumblings about like, oh man, what are we going to do if like anti-maskers show up, or if there's going to be like any hassle or difficulty, and everybody was super cool.
Everyone was. Oh God, I was so nervous. Like that was my big anxiety going into in-person CybFest was outside of the standard it's COVID, but there was also like are we gonna have people that are just causing problems to cause problems, but everyone was so respectful. Everyone was super understanding. I mean, even people who I'm friends with on Facebook, and they've been very, very vocal about their personal opinions regarding this. They were super kind. They were super respectful. They said, "This is what you guys are requiring. This is what I'm going to do." Everyone in this community is just amazing, and I love it. So
yeah. And I would imagine that would continue. I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't see like some kind of like ratio split of like some folks wearing masks and other folks not. And I think not to drag us into any kind of political discussion that would get any of us into trouble, but like I think we're reaching the phase of this where it's very much about your own personal choices and your own personal safety. Right. Like I'm immune compromised, so I can't make this choice. Or like I feel like the strain is too transmissible and I'm in a at-risk category, I can't go. Or like, hey man, I just don't want to get it, so I'm going to do what I can, and I'm going to mask up. I think we're going to see a lot of that spectrum. And again, I think we nailed it here. I think this community, for as much drama and friction as and and other stuff that there is in the Transformers community, it seems like this seems to be the one thing that folks have really just kind of like it's cliche, but it does kind of have that feel of like we're all in this together, like we were saying 3 years ago that we all got tired of very, very quickly. But yeah, it feels very uniting in a lot of ways. So I'm excited to kind of see folks and to visit and for folks to feel safe. So that being said, and I feel bad because like my buddy George Soroy asked like an hour ago in chat, what kind of panels are at Transformers conventions? And in my mind, I was like, okay, cool. That would be a good way to kind of loop back around to talk about some of the panels that we're going to be doing at CybFest.
But is he asking it in general, like other conventions, like what kind of panels happened at BotCon or TFCon or?
I think he is asking. It's kind of two pronged. I think he's asking specific because so George. So he's a dude that I met a year ago, just over a year ago, and his story is kind of similar to mine in that he's been a lifelong fan of the franchise, is a huge big fan of the Transformers the movie. In fact, that's how he and I got connected, was through podcasting groups actually, and he posted something about doing something for the 35th anniversary of Transformers the movie. I'm like, oh, my friend, let's be friends.
Do you like the Transformers the movie? I didn't know.
It's all right. I mean, it's
I thought fine. It was Challenge of the GoBots movie. I thought that was your jam.
Well, I think maybe it's a little too soon to talk about Rock Lords. I think that's been that has been in. So we're not talking about the Rock Lords and their challenge, and I still don't even understand half of that. But that's all right. There is a version. I mean, I don't have the emotional bandwidth to really deep in the muck, but there is a part of me sometimes that would really like to do like a TMZ trashy style Transformers podcast or YouTube channel where I'm just like talking about the hot bot goss and just talking about all the sleazy nasty stuff that seems to permeate this fandom. It was an eventful weekend for Transformers Twitter. I'll just kind of leave it there.
I love your response to Rock Lords is I don't have the emotional capacity for this right now. You're like, I can't do this.
I just can't. But anyway, so my buddy George, he was kind of like me, he has a lot of affection for the movie, a lot of affection for the brand, but doesn't know anything about the fandom. So his gateway into fandom was through me, which I was just like, buddy. but no, so he's learning about Transformers conventions and kind of the whole larger scene, and it's been kind of cool in a way to kind of see the same journey that I had 3-4 years ago to see somebody else kind of on their journey as well. So very, very long story short, I think he's legit asking about some of the stuff that happens at Transformers conventions, and then we can kind of talk about CybFest as well. Obviously there's voice actor panels and toy panels, and I mean panels for anything. But
yeah, I attended a lot of BotCon, so I can talk about some of the panels that they've had. Some of them which we'll never be able to have because they were put on by Hasbro themselves. They would do their big toy reveal, which was probably the best panel of the weekend. And then they would have designer panels where they'd show different recolor ideas that they've been thinking about, or ones that how they came to the conclusion they were going to come to. And of course, like you said, the voice actor panels, the IDW panel, if there's a media, whatever media is currently happening. I remember, in 2008, the big reveal of Transformers Animated, and or maybe it was 2007 they revealed Animated. In 2008 you started to see some of the toys show up, but there was it was one of the first times they actually showed like the cartoon, little bits of the cartoon, and people were not sure about the designs, but once they saw it in an animated form they got really excited. So it's really infectious.
Like, what was the? So I want to ask a history question, but like, what was the response to Animated like before it came out?
It was not liked. It was
Okay.
kind of heavily criticized, and the idea that they kind of like did this kind of hurricane transformation bothered a lot of fans.
Yeah.
But then they had Derek Wyatt was on one of the creators, and he's a lifelong fan. So it was one of those things like, well, he's truly a fan. He's not like somebody's like, I grew up with Transformers. He's like, no, he's really a fan. He brought in some really obscure characters from the history of Transformers into Animated in just little cameo behind the scenes type stuff. So yeah, so that's kind of the things that you can get at like an official Transformer convention, which no longer happens. But
yeah, I think what kind of panels are at Transformers conventions is a question that like the CybFest organizer team has also been asking, because when it comes to panels, I don't want to come across as unconfident, but we're still very much figuring out how panels are going to work for us. And we've got some what I'm really excited about the panels we have this year. I think they're very cool. I think they're going to be a lot of fun. I am very excited about the show and tell panel. I think that's going to be exciting. But these are not the panels that you'll see at other like conventions. Like this isn't something you're going to go to PAX and you're going to see this, or Emerald City and you're going to see this. And I've always been a fan of non-traditional panels. When I go to like Comic-Con and PAX, I bring a panel called the Cosplay Crunch Contest, which is more of a workshop than anything. But and Mike, we've talked about that.
Yeah.
But the Collector Oddities panel I think is going to be a lot of fun. But when we get to it, I'm very excited to talk about the Collector Show and Tell. I think that's going to be exciting.
Yeah, and real quick, so Ryan had sent me a message on Facebook. Also, he was saying I'll be a part of the Oddities panel and hope to get something to show that I guarantee no one has ever seen before in public.
Wow.
And he also wanted to. Yeah, so think about that. Because we talked Ryan King up quite a bit earlier, and like he's got eclectic taste in terms of like obscure collectibles. We also mentioned that he's going to be selling off sealed and opened Beast Wars, including a lot of Beast Wars second stuff. So yeah, if you're looking to hard to find or later release stuff, Ryan's got you covered. But yeah, that's a bold claim.
It is
guarantees,
but
guarantees no one has seen before in public.
And now I'm wondering.
Anybody else?
I'm wondering if Ryan's going to start with a transforming toilet.
If it was anybody else saying that, I would have my doubts. But with Ryan, I'm like, oh no, I think he's going to bring it, and it's going to be awesome. But the thing is, with being a convention that's very toy focused, and Liz was talking about this too. It's just trying to figure out what we want to do, and it's not just about what we want to do, but what people are interested in. So we try different things, and it's hard to say because the first couple of years of CybFest, it was people showed up in the morning, they got their toys, and then they were out by 12 or 1. And then the last few hours were just kind of dead. And so it was like, well, what can we do to keep people here? And so we would come up with some panel ideas, and we put them later in the afternoon when people may be, looking for something else to do. And they've had varying success, from, just a couple people attending to, a pretty full room if it was something like a David Kay or some of the other artists that we've had. So yeah, really, and I'm just going to bring this up anyway, is that we're going to be doing like a organizer panel. And I think one of the questions we're going to be asking the people coming to that panel is, what kind of stuff do you want to see? What kind of stuff will get you excited? What kind of stuff do people want to, what would make people want to stick around longer in the day for, to be entertained by?
And I would also venture to say, too, that some panels just kind of naturally happen based off of what's going on with the show. I mean, for example, when we had David Kay that year, that presented a really awesome opportunity to have a voice actor panel that CybFest hadn't been able to do before. So I think sometimes, depending on what's going on, what we're having at CybFest, it kind of leads itself to certain panels. And that will make it easier sometimes, too, to also come up with the panels. Because if we have a voice actor, that's kind of a gimme. That's a gimme for a panel.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Which I, for one, would love to have David Kay back, because that was cool.
He was so nice too. He was so great to work with. Yeah.
He was. I couldn't be happier with my first experience meeting a voice actor.
Absolutely.
I met David.
Oh, somebody just chimed in.
Let's see. So Tim on Facebook. Tim, personally, I would like to see more personal collections of rare, interesting, etc. Transformers on display to look at, not for purchase or anything.
Well, then the oddities panel will be a good thing, because I'm going to be bringing a couple. So, I mean, unless you absolutely hate Bumblebee, in which case, then I have nothing for you. But you're dead to me. But I have some stuff that never got officially released anywhere, and so I've got some stuff like that. I have a Hasbro employee gift that was a Bumblebee thing that I'm going to bring.
Oh wow!
So yeah, I got some fun stuff.
Rick says nobody likes Bumblebee. Yeah.
Oh come on! See, we've gone long enough with this chat to where like the nighttime crowd is starting to come out. You could see in the window behind me where it's starting to get kind of dark. It was daytime when we started, but yeah, now the nighttime folks are coming out. And that's a great reminder. If you want to join us in the chat, I just recently did a couple fresh retweets and some new shares. But yeah, if you want to join us in the chat, questions for the CybFest Northwest leadership team, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, wherever, the restream here should be able to collate that all, so we could all see that pretty easily. Don't be shy.
And Rick's
Tim,
not shy. Because he just
no
flat
Rick
out.
Is not
Rick came in swinging. Yeah,
he just kicked me in the robot nuts right there.
He's like,
I actually like Tim's idea for seeing people's collections.
Wait, seeing all the retail Bumblebees all together.
There you go. So we did. I think one of the.
It keeps going. The whole wall, Tim.
No, it was one of the first CybFests. You had a table of just Bumblebee stuff, didn't you? Just for show.
I brought in all of the movie deluxes up until that point, and I had 2 of each, and this is up through Dark of the Moon. So, and I had 2 of each in robot and vehicle, and I had them all displayed. It was 30 figures, I believe. They have since released a lot more, and I think they're up to like 50-something deluxe Bumblebees. So I've 3 of everything sealed robot. No room. So yeah, I'm just focusing on each. I have it in robot sometimes. I have it in vehicle, depending on my mood.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I want to jump in. Tim did say a chance for people in the community to show off their rare Transformers. I'm going to use that to talk about the show and tell panel because I am very excited. So the show and tell panel was.
Don't try to do good segues. Come on, man.
Please, can I talk about the show and tell panel, Mike? Please.
Yes, of course.
But no, I'm very excited. We talked about this a little bit. We talked about different iterations of it. But the general gist of it was I thought a panel where like just people attending the con could come up and like one at a time get to show off something cool would be a fun and exciting panel. And not a traditional panel, because it's, I think we said Ben's going to be sitting at the table kind of interviewing people, and I'm going to be kind of manning the line and, pushing people to Ben. But a chance for someone to stand up at a mic and say, oh, I've got crud, what's my nearest transformer? I've got my tiny blind bag world. This is not a good example of what the show and tell panel will be like.
Sure.
But just a cool thing that you've got, a thing that has a cool story behind it. Something that you guarantee people have never seen before in public, things like that. And I'm very excited. I think it's going to be super interesting. So if you have something in your collection that you would like to show and tell to people, because who does not miss show and tell? Like, I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm very excited to see what people bring. We decided to do it a little bit towards the later end of the day, about 3 o'clock, so that people have time to maybe buy something to show and tell. So if you find something super cool on the show floor, you can say like, oh, this, I'm going to buy this, first off for my collection, but also, oh, hey, this is pretty cool. I can show this off at the show and tell and brag about my cool find at CybFest this year. So that sort of thing. I am excited. I think it's going to be very interesting. So.
And I will say the other thing I like about the show and tell panel too is, even if you don't have something that's like unique and cool to show, having something with a really cool story behind it, I think, is also a really neat thing to do.
Yeah.
And I feel like everybody, if you've been collecting long enough, I feel like everybody kind of has that.
So
I have a G1 Fort Max that would have never gotten in my collection if it wasn't for a bunch of people in the community getting together and saying, "Hey, here's your wedding present."
Oh, buddy.
And it's nothing. It's nothing odd or unique, but it's a G1 Fort Max. Like, that wouldn't be in my collection if it wasn't for people doing that. So, I mean, even if it's not a unique transformer, if it's something that has a really cool story behind it, I still think that's worth it for a show and tell too.
So this is, I'll do my show and tell now, so I'm not tempted to do it during the actual panel. I'm going to use the link. It's really hard to read.
I love it.
So this is my RC from Prime, first edition.
First edition.
My mom works on Guild Wars 2. She's their social media manager, and Sumali Montano is the voice of their main character, or one of their main characters. She's also the voice of RC in Transformers Prime. Mm-hmm. So my mom occasionally will fly down to Burbank to do like media interviews with voice actors, and every now and then she'll say, "Hey, I'm going to be interviewing this person. Do you have anything you want them to sign?" So she said, "Hey, I'm going to go and I'm going to talk to Sumali Montano. Do you have anything?" And I said, "Boy, do I," because I collect RC stuff. So I have, it says, it's got her signature on there. It is made out to me. It is very cool. It is on the card.
Oh my gosh.
It says, "To Liz, here's to you and the love of Prime." So it is very cute. It is very cool. I will never get rid of it. So things like that, I feel like, are perfect for show and tell. So maybe not my blind bag whirl, but an autographed, thing made out specifically for you is neat.
I'm gonna follow Liz's lead here and give another idea for somebody. So even if you don't make it to BotCon, if you manage to get a hold of an autographed toy like this, that's worth talking about. Peter Cullen signed Encore Prime. I've never met him a day in my life, never been to a BotCon, but I still managed to get my hands on this bad boy.
Just gotta one up me, huh? Ben's
gonna one up me.
Oh, look at this! He's going to the catacombs. Oh my gosh! I love this. We're just doing the show and tell panel now.
Roland told me, and it says and Rick actually got this for me because I couldn't make it to the Emerald City Comic Con, but it says, "To Ben and Statler, let's roll up and roll out." So that was awesome. So yeah,
I feel like everybody's got something like this in their collection. Something cool.
Mike, you're at work, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm still at work.
I'm mistaken. Am I remembering this wrong, Rick?
Uh-oh.
Oh, my thing's not scrolling.
Is it a different? Okay.
Yeah, there's been so much good chats. You got to scroll down.
He is coming in swinging.
Mine was stuck
You're
on
like
Ash.
one-lined it. You're mistaken.
I may have gotten which figure he got me signed. Oh no, just joking.
Well, and I also want to call out Ashley's back in the chat. I agree it would be fun to see just interesting collections of weird, rare toys on exhibition. Gotta check out the show and tell panel and see if any of my Star Screams are weird or obscure enough to be worth showing off. See, we sold a ticket. We sold a ticket to the show. Wait a sec, that's included with
the
your
dealer,
con
yeah.
admission.
I was like, I'm
But-
pretty sure Ashley was already coming.
But even so, I think we did a pretty good job of hyping that up. I think that's definitely going to be one of the highlights of the show as well. So I also want to talk about some of the other cool things that are happening at CybFest that I think are unique to CybFest that you don't see at, say, like a TFCon or some of the other fan conventions. And like, you know, there's the art contest. You got a transforming contest. You got a trivia contest, and it was a delight to learn about all of those when I first got to know Ben. So from there, could you talk about some of the contests that are going to be happening?
I'm going to speak to the trivia contest because the trivia contest is kind of what led me to where we are today. I would help out at CybCon for Greg, and I just said, "Hey, you've got a lot going on. Do you want me to take over the trivia contest?" And he had his questions already up and going, so I was able to just jump in and do it. And he was appreciative, and then was like, "Hey, would you mind doing this again next year?" And that's when I brought Jason on to help me with a visual component, and then we started kind of changing up the trivia game. We would take inspiration from different game shows and stuff like that, have different types of questions. And so once again, we're doing, trivia this year because that's always been the thing that Jason and I worked on together. And so it's going to be kind of like a Jeopardy type format, but it's teams. We like having teams because there's a few people in our community that have an unnatural knowledge of Transformers. And so they can answer any question from like, what's the 37th word that Optimus Prime said in the Sea Change episode? And they'll do it. It's weird. So it's going to be like the first round is going to be there's going to be 5 categories, teams of 5. Each person picks a category that they feel comfortable in. So it could either be a G1 category, a Beast Wars, and so on and so forth. There's 5 different ones. And then after that, then they pick who they think is going to be their top contender, and then they compete in a few more categories that are few less questions but are more challenging. So, and then whoever wins, whichever team wins, gets some money for the show.
Money for the show?
Yes. So one of the things we want to do, we've done doing like prizes and stuff like that. And we thought the best prize is money to spend in the dealer tables. One, it gets people the thing that they actually want. Giving them like a random figure that was a retail figure that they may already have 2 of, or they didn't want at all, is, not a great necessary incentive. So giving them some like $10-15 to spend in the dealer table gets, 1, them what they want, and 2, the money goes to the dealers, which means they make more money because they get these like show dollars, which we print up, and then they turn them back into us, and they get real money for that. So yeah, it's great for the dealers. It's great for the people participating.
We are stimulating the economy, but only specifically within the Kent Commons.
That's right.
Yes. In our own ecosystem.
Yes, exactly.
That's right.
I love that. So one of the more unique things that I had never heard of this before, but there's two brackets. There's adults and then there's kids. We got to talk about the transforming contest.
Transforming contest. That was definitely something that originated with Ben and Jason with CybFest, but the last couple of years.
It goes back to CybCon.
Oh, does it go back to CybCon?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, see, because I wasn't even participating in the transforming contest. Although,
I 2004. I remember the figure that was the transforming contest. It was G2 Sideswipe. That was the figure.
My son Dalen entered in one of the contests, and you know what transform figure he had to mess with? Movie Ironhide. Yeah, that wasn't easy at all. But he actually won. But so this year with the transform contest, yes, we've got a bracket for kids and a bracket for adults. Oh my goodness, Rick.
Rick, he actually won G2 Sideswipe.
4.7 seconds Carter Robot for G2 Sideswipe. Nice.
I like the 0.7. It's so specific.
I know.
Oh, yeah, Greg would time people because he wanted. I think that was before he had two figures where it was a head-to-head competition. I think it was just one, and then you would just go and you would get timed and stuff. But that just shows how long Rick has been a part of this community too. And
yeah.
Greg was very
specific. That's a status update right there. Oh, that's funny.
So of course we can't talk about what the prices are or what people will be transforming because we don't want anyone practicing.
Correct.
But we have appropriate transformers for the kids for what they're going to be transforming for the contest, and something that works for the adults. And I think we actually made some really good choices this year for what they're transforming and the prizes. And so I'm going to have a lot of fun with that. I hope plenty of people consider signing up for it because I think the prizes are worth it, but I might be being biased.
It's always fun to try to figure out what figures we're going to use. And we had a list going, and then we would just kind of vote on a couple and be like, well, I really think this one is a good option, and then we just kind of keep narrowing it down. So it's fun.
Okay. So when we were planning this, when we planned the transforming contest, there's like this huge ongoing list of like potential candidates for the transforming contest. And when we're in a meeting for, we have like weekly planning meetings, and I bounce wildly between being like, come on guys, we got a bet on track, I want to go to bed, we have to hurry, and then like, we start planning the Transformers contest, and there, big heated debate about which figure we should use, and I drop a one-step changer in the chat, and I'm like, hey, let's do a one-step changer, and nobody thinks it's funny except for me, but I do it every time. So I am either keeping us on track, or I am wildly moving us off track and making things take longer.
We did toy around with the idea of having 6 one-step changers that they had to do in order and have them all displayed, So we had talked about that, I think, a couple, like last year or the year before or something. It was
I'm still in favor.
Yeah, we just trying to think of like ways to kind of twist the concept a little bit.
I think just leave it, just plain one-step changer for everyone. No kids division, no adult division. Everyone gets the same one-step changer. Go.
I spent way too much money on a one-step changer recently.
Oh,
they're super fun.
They are. I like them, but
I got my world one-step changer.
$60 for a one-step is pretty high.
Yeah, that's a bit much. That's a bit much.
I don't know how to change the one-step changer.
Where's the one step? It's a one step, and I don't know what it is.
It's a helicopter.
Liz somehow makes it into 3 steps.
Yeah, right.
Oh my gosh, that is too funny. So we're if you are just now joining us, we are talking about the return of CybFest Northwest. That is coming up on July 23rd at the Kent Commons Community Center in Kent, and the hours for the show are 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. Registration has been extended to July 16th, so you can get on that at cybfestnw.com. And of course, the advantage of pre-registering is that you get early entry to the show. You get in an hour early at 10 o'clock, as opposed to the rest of the general admission folks there at 11 o'clock. So again, just want to remind folks that registration is open through July 16th. So yeah, what's left? Oh, art contest. Do we want to talk about the art contest? Because I'm interested in light of recent events, and this might be a little like breaking news, workshopping stuff on a live stream as we go. But yeah, I thought we'd spend a couple minutes talking about the art contest here before we packed up.
Yeah. So the art contest there's not a ton to talk about. It's not very different from your standard art contest. People can bring in art. The rules we came up with are it doesn't have to be made specifically for this show, but it should have been made this year. So, something fairly recent, not, something you've been milking for, several years. We aren't necessarily doing different divisions. What we've decided is depending on how many entries there are, we might do adults and kids, or we might just do one whole thing and then do some separate prizes like, if we have a couple kids entries and a bunch of adult entries, we might do something like like best unique pencil sketch or something like that for a kid's entry.
Sure.
But we're accepting all media forms, so it can be a digital print that you printed out. It could be pencil and paper. It could be a customized figure, all sorts of stuff. So the awards will very much depend on what how many entries we have, because we're not sure if we're going to get a whole bunch of different entries or if we're just going to get a few. So it's kind of we're going to wait and see, but I'm very excited to see what we get. One thing we did add this year was that if people want to bring their own displays, which is something we noticed last year, was we did have people bringing in like I've got like a print, or I've got like a commission I did, and it's a piece of paper, and we hadn't I don't think we had the foresight to have any way to display that paper, so it was laying flat on the table, which is fine, and it worked if you were right up close to the table. But we said if you want to bring something like an easel or some sort of way to display your art, you're welcome to do that as well. So I'm interested to see how the artists will be displaying their work this year. So.
And it's also not just about technical ability. We're also looking at creativity, uniqueness. Is this just another figure or a character that's been done in the same pose, the same way, time and time again from different artists, or is it a completely different type of feel, or is it a completely different background or scenery, or so just seeing what people do that are different, and we kind of weigh that into our decisions on who wins prizes. So.
Okay.
Yeah. The criteria given was craftsmanship, originality, and polish. So craftsmanship is like, what makes your piece like technically impressive? What techniques did you use? And then originality is what makes your piece stand out from the crowd. And then polish is, how has your piece been finished? That sort of thing. So that's the criteria we're judging on. We're going to have Billy judging the contest as well. So I'm really excited to see what people come up with.
Yeah, absolutely. And if folks want more information about any of the contests, whether it's the art contest, the transforming contest, or the trivia contest, head over to cybfestnw.com. The quickest way I found is like you go and find the schedule, which is published, and it lets you know where everything is at. In fact, actually, I'll just do a screen share here and make it a rather than trying to. I keep forgetting I'm in a visual medium, and we could just look at it. But no, the schedule is there. It lets you know all of the events, and then there are paths to take you to more information about each of the individual contests and rules and events. Oh, in fact, actually, this takes you to the contest page. Now that I look at it, as the all the criteria for the transforming contest, the trivia contest, and the art contest as well. So all of those are available, as well as the schedule. Let's see. I'm doing that thing where it's like, okay, what's left? What's left?
We have some raffle items that we're going to be doing. What we've been doing the last few years is doing our raffle at the end of the day. And we're doing that again, where people get to put their raffle tickets into the prize they want to win.
Which I love that's a really good way to do it.
And that way you're hopefully going to get something you really want. I will reveal that we will have a Titan class there that's going to be raffled, one that is not currently on market. Yes, shocking. We'll have a certain crossover that makes you want to go faster, must go faster. There's something else. Got some fossilizer, a set of fossilizers, which I think is fun because those are, my son loves those. He's a big, loves dinosaurs and he loves Transformers. So dinosaur bone Transformers are awesome. So a set of all three of the regular retail and a separate one for the exclusive Tricranius.
Nice.
So yeah, those are just some of the raffle items that will be there.
There's a ridiculous amount of raffle items.
Yeah.
It's very exciting.
And we do have a raffle item that's not so much toy focused either.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I color me intrigued. I'm excited. And then so I guess one of the last couple things I wanted to talk about is I have been invited to host a couple panels.
Yep.
I will be hosting a IDW artist spotlight where I will be chatting with Billy, Cosmic Danger Zone, and we'll kind of chat about how somebody goes from just being a local artist posting stuff on Portfolio Day, getting noticed by IDW editorial, and then suddenly doing covers and interiors. It's a really cool story that I'm excited to share. It's probably a conversation for offline, but I'll probably try to figure out a way to maybe film that and maybe like have it as like a live stream, very similar to what we're doing here. But I don't know how I'm going to do that yet, but I'll figure it out. And then it is the return of Mike Seibert Radio Live to close out the show. We did that a couple years ago. It started off as the return of the legacy of the Transformers the movie, where I just talked about the movie, but then it very swiftly devolved into just kind of like an impromptu organizers chat where we just kind of reflected on the show that was, and kind of doing a lot of stuff that we're doing here, kind of like brainstorming for the future. And I think we'll not worry about the movie portion so much and just kind of get into like the chat. Maybe I'll talk about some of the news of the day. Maybe we'll do some open Q&A with folks that are there in attendance. But I think that'll be a fun way for folks to kind of close out the show, especially if they got sacks and sacks of stuff and they just want to like sit down and listen to some knucklehead talk for a few while you kind of recollect your energies to be able to go back out into the world. So that was a super fun panel a couple years ago. So I'm really excited to bring that back to CybFest Northwest, and I'm grateful to you guys for inviting me to participate.
We're excited.
We love having you.
Yeah.
It's fun stuff.
And there's going to be a lot to talk about because there's going to be San Diego Comic-Con. They have the Transformer panel on Thursday, and I think they're doing a panel about the new Earthrise show, or not Earthrise, Earthspark on Friday.
Yeah.
So So yeah, so we there'll be many conversations to be had about what we saw and what we thought of things.
I think so. I think, and again, I love workshopping stuff live, but yeah, I think that's what it's going to be. It's like a lot of news of the day type of stuff. And then just, reflecting on CybFest with everybody that wants to come, participate. And again, I think one of the things I want to incorporate is, because Ben, you might remember this. Liz, I think you were still closing down the show, but like, towards the end of my Transformers the movie thing, I just invited folks to come up and say, "Hey man, do you got a story about watching that dumb movie?" And yeah, we got like a good lineup of folks that were just talking about being traumatized by that robot movie that one time, and it was a lot of fun. So I think like trying to incorporate some kind of like our audience participation Q&A thing, I think that could be that could certainly be a lot of fun as well. So, but there it is, folks. I mean, that is a fun-filled day. And wait a sec. How much does it cost for all this to get in? Oh, that's right, $10 for adults.
Whoa,
So again,
that's a
I know,
steal.
right? I mean, we've been spending 2 hours talking about how this is 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 hours, 7 hours if you register early of wall-to-wall Transformers excitement. So I mean, it's it's all about community. It's a whole lot of fun. So again, registration is open now. It's been extended through July 16th. So don't miss your opportunity to come in an hour early and get some of those great deals. But admission for CybFest Northwest 2022 is $10 for adults. That includes children ages 3 and up, and $5 for children ages 5 to 12. There's no admission fee for the kiddos 0 to 4. And again, I want to call this out again, the special family rate, $25 gets you 2 adults and 2 to 5 kiddos. So that's I mean that's just a screaming deal, because it's it's all about that family friendliness and community, and it is going to be a real blast. Well, team, this has been lots of fun. I think when we were planning this, I don't know if any of us were anticipating going quite this long, but on the other hand, when you sign up for a Mike Seibert Radio podcast, what else could it have been? But I think our time is starting to run short. But before we part ways for now, I guess let's just kind of go around the room. Is there anything that we might have missed? Anything else in particular with regards to CybFest, kind of like last call for alcohol for things that we wanted to call attention to?
I would say just if anybody wants to have fun messing around with some Transformers that they didn't have to pay for, enter the contest. Have some fun. See if you can beat out someone else's time, because the prizes are good.
Yeah.
And the other contest, you can win more money to spend in the dealer room than you paid to get into the show.
Oh, there it is. See,
so you can actually you can come to CybFest and make money.
I love it. Liz, any final thoughts?
Yeah, so Greg and I have a deal. If he wears his Heelys, I'm gonna wear my Heelys, and vice versa. So you guys have to wear Heelys. I'm dropping this on you live so everyone knows that I said it to you. So the gauntlet has been thrown down. And I'm expecting you guys to have your Heelys ready so that we can all transform and roll out.
I'm going to use my proxy. My son will wear his Heelys.
I'll take that. I will accept that.
And they're very, very glittery. They're like they're like disco ball shoes. It's amazing.
Mine are bright pink and glittery, so I am ready to go.
Okay, if I find a Transformer scooter, can I use that?
No, it has to be Heelys. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Mike, I know you've got yours, right? You're ready to go.
You know what? As soon as we sign off here, I'm going to do some shopping. See what I can come up with. See if they make them in my size. It's like, do. I'm sure they have a boomer collection for it's like, so you tried to keep up with the kiddos.
That was one of the first things I bought when I got adult money. They are worth it.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Cause
That's
like
very important news.
I chase my cats throughout the house, and we have hardwood floors, and I wear socks. So like my move is I slide around those corners, and so yeah. I think I would be a menace in Healy.
Oh,
So I'll see what
excellent.
I'll see what I can do.
Kent Commons will not be allowing us back next year.
No, it's like, remember when that boomer went all feral in his Heelys? My gosh. Well, folks, this has been a great time, and Rick gave us a nice comment to sign us off. Thank you, Mike, and for all the information, and the CybFest team for this year's upcoming show. It is going to be a blast, and again, that is going to be coming up on July 23rd, returning to the Kent Commons Community Center from 11 to 5. It is CybFest Northwest 2022 for Transformers fans, young and old, new and long time. Come celebrate Transformers at CybFest Northwest. So that I think is going to wrap it up. I would like to thank Ben, Jamal, and Liz for joining us here. And again, that will wrap it up for this episode. Thank you so much for listening and for hanging out with us. I mean, my God, there's still a half dozen people watching. Don't you people have jobs? Go to bed. Go commute. Oh my God.
Thank you, Mike, for everything you've done, and we really appreciate you helping us out and stuff. And now that people have seen our faces, come say hi to us at the show. We're wandering around doing our job, but we would love to hear from people. So come say hi.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Very, very cool. All right. And again, thank you guys for inviting me to participate. It's a fun, collaborative, partnership. It's tons of fun. And I want to remind folks that if you're watching on a video, you can listen to my podcast. It's called Mike Seibert Radio Podcast. You can listen to all of my shows. You can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn, or wherever the heck else you listen to your podcast. You can also check out my YouTube channel for even more videos. That's kind of the permanent archive for the live streams here. And then also they have transcribed videos of the audio podcasts. I don't know how to explain that, but basically my podcast host also publishes to YouTube, so you get videos of audio. And folks seem to like it because I guess people still find podcasts on YouTube, which is super rad. And I do some separate videos as well from time to time. And you can join the MSRP Friends and Fans Facebook group, become a Mike Cybertronian, and you can find me on all those social medias at Mike Seibert Radio on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Like, share, rate, and review the show. Let us know what you'd like and what you'd like to know more of in the future. And tune in for the return of the Mike Seibert Radio Podcast live stream on Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook Live, and subscribe so you never miss a show. That is going to do it for me. But folks, are there any other social media? Oh, we didn't even talk about the CybFest social medias. My gosh. But yeah, so if folks wanted to, I was supposed to do that before I read all of that other stuff. If folks wanted to get the latest and greatest with CybFest Northwest, how can they find more on the internets, and how can they stay current out on the social medias? I'm just going to ask Liz because I know she's the keeper of the social keys.
Yeah, we are CybFest NW pretty much everywhere. So Facebook, Twitter, those are the two where I remember I'm the best about posting on. We're also on Tumblr and Instagram as well. Instagram has actually been having some issues lately, but you can find our posts there. So anywhere that, for the most part, that you use social media, you can find CybFest Northwest there, CybFest NW, most places, and then our website as well, which is just cybfestnw.com. We'll have all of the most recent information as well.
Terrific. And again, that's where you can go to get registered. Again, registration has been extended to the 16th, so don't miss out on that. CybFest Northwest. And so for my guests, Liz and Jamal and Ben, my name is Mike. This has been Mike Seibert Radio, and until next time, tell all or one, make good choices. Oh, I think that'll about do it. Bye, bye, bye. Wave, wave, wave.
I'm gonna keep waving until you turn off the live thing.
You got it. I'm
Yeah.
gonna hit this button that says end the stream